Right, so I've got two switches here. Probably only get time to do one tonight, but the reason I've brought the two is because, well, Console Repair London told me that he had two switches with blue screens of death, but they're not marked as blue screen of death. I know one of them has a blue screen of death. It's one that I worked on a couple of months ago, and it's come back. The customer's trying to claim warranty, even though it was a no power issue I fixed, and now 2 months later it's got a blue screen of death. No, 4 months later it's got a blue screen of death. But he's trying to claim warranty, so I've got to diagnose that and then quote, because I know it's unrelated to the original issue, but he's trying to claim warranty, so I can't actually do anything without authorization on that one. But then basically there's two other switches here, and apparently one of them's got a blue screen of death, but they're both marked as no power. So I want to find out which one it is. It's most likely this one, I would say, because this has been battered. So let's just... Oh dear. Well, that's incredibly loose. Let's just get my USB on meter. Let's just see if it is actually detecting a charger. It is, and it's drawing 0.11 amps, 0.10 amps. That's either an incredibly dead battery or a power issue. Let's have a look at the other one. That one's drawing 0.15 amps. So I'm thinking it's probably this one, because this one says no power port changed. Oh dear. Oh, that's got a bit of a short. Yeah. And no USB detect that side. Right, okay. Well, what I'll do then, I'll take it apart. Yeah, I'll take it apart. I'll try it with my bench power supply, see if it turns on. I'm pretty sure he said that there was two with a blue screen of death. Like I said, I can't do anything with the other one because, well, it sucks, but I've got a quote first, so it's pointless me just having a look on stream. It's one that I've got to do off stream. Screw housing's damaged on that screw. Typical switch. This one's actually got bending as well, so there's a chance that this is the blue screen of death one. It's actually intriguing me which console's got the blue screen of death now, if any, to be honest. No game card slot. Huh. Interesting. Well, one less thing to test, I suppose. So I guess this has definitely been apart before. Right, let's get the multimeter on this quickly. Alright, let's test around M92 for a short then. We have a short on P13 USB. So, ow, just freaking poked myself in the eye with the camera. Damn it. Right, so this cap here, which is shorted, is linked directly to P13 USB. So we are likely going to have a nice big gigantic whopping hole in P13 when we take it apart. So let's get it apart. Right, so P13, that cap that's linked to is the video IC. That typically goes bad when That typically goes bad when the port's damaged. Let me have a look at the port actually. Just see what the situation is on that. Yeah, that's a little bit broken. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Yeah. A little bit broken. Well, the outer frame's broken. It's not actually the port what's broken, but that's going to need changing. That can't be left. Yeah. P13. Right. Let's pull this chip. And then we'll test again for a short. Amazon are out of Kimbo. That sucks. See, I buy mine from AliExpress, so I don't generally check stock levels on Amazon. Come on, Mr. Chip. Thank you. Use the gravity method there, by the way, if anyone's wondering. So basically just hold onto the chip slightly and just let hot air take it, and gravity will just pull the board away from the chip. Pulls it off nice and clean. Yep, so it's just a P13 and a port then. I'll get a new P13 on first. And then before I, because I've got a feeling that one of these might have a blue screen of death, I'm going to confirm it turns on before I change the port. I don't want to waste time. I've got to put P13 on to confirm it turns on, but I don't have to change the port to confirm it turns on. As long as I don't charge it, it should be fine. One tube lasts a month. Lasts me about 3 days. No, I'll order some on Monday. Oh, hang on, let me get the fume extractor on. Just give it a quick test, make sure it actually turns on. And there we go, it turns on. So I can change the port. I'll just make sure it boots. Yep, it boots, so now I can change the port. Right, so even though the port looks good inside, that's the reason I'm changing it. Okay, so I've got a leg stuck in there, but I'll sort that in a minute. Nah, the pads are just oxidised, mate. Just badly oxidised. Get that ground leg out. Bit of a tear on the ground leg there, but nothing major. Like, I'll do a screen if it's part of a wider job, like liquid damage or something, but other than that, I don't tend to usually do it. Right, that's cleaned out enough. How much do I charge for charger port replacements? It depends what on. I mean, if it was just like a micro USB port on like an old Samsung, I'd have to work out the cost of the actual port because they're on a flex cable. But stuff like this, like a Nintendo Switch USB port, I charge 50. Alright, I'm just going to heat up this area before I drop the port on. Just save damage in it. Ow! I burnt myself again, as always. Nothing new there. Press and hold that. Should be good. Well, that's sitting a little bit high. Not as high as me. Oh, God. Oh, dear. Phil's been on the wacky back, eh? Alright, hang on. Let me just pull my hot air gun a little bit closer there. Hard to tell. Thinking there's still some shards stuck in here, to be honest. Probably still some shards of metal stuck in there. That's sitting too high still. Why is this sitting so high? That one leg this side. Board might be warped. No, I don't think it is. Don't look warped. Looks perfectly straight. If you look at the board on that angle, it looks perfectly straight. That's better. That's sitting perfectly flat now. Right. Let's just secure the port. It never took me that long to get a port flat before. There must have been a tiny bit of metal stuck in there still from where it snapped. How's it going, Robert? Welcome, mate. I'll get to chat in a minute, by the way, guys. I'll just glance every so often. Oh, yeah, thank you for hanging out, Stephen. I appreciate that, mate. And Chris as well, if you're leaving. Cheers, mate. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. Well, I'm going to give this a good clean now. Where did I buy that case? I bought this from Amazon, but I can't find them on there anymore. I'd love to get a couple more, but I can't find them on there anymore. Yep. Goes in really smooth. That's why I always clean the... that's why I always clean the inside of the port out. Oh, I got coffee there and I didn't even realise. Well, it's gone now. Right. Let's see if it charges. And then I'll find a test game card reader. 0.09. That's very dead. That's very, very dead, that battery is. Probably going to be on about 2.2 volts, I would say. Maybe less. Ah, 2.9, but it is increasing. But we're not getting a display. Why are we not getting a display when it's charging? It's not powering on. It was powering on before I changed the port. What? That don't make any sense. 0.06 milliamp. 0.06 amps. And no shorts. No. 0.06 amps and no shorts.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
So I changed P13, I've got it to turn on. And then I've changed the charger port and now it's not turning on. The only thing that's anywhere near there is the RAM. Yep, it's damaged the RAM. No, it hasn't. Never mind. I thought that was a popcorn in the RAM, then it's not. Some flux has got under there though. I thought that was a bubble in the RAM then, but it's not. It was a little bit of thermal paste. Reflowing it might work, but not always. Right, I'm going to ultrasonic this, and just in case any shit's got under the RAM that's stopping it from making a connection. Definitely a little bit of flux got under there. Now it's drawing 200, it's going up to 200 and then back. Let me see if that's actually powering on. I don't think it is. I think that's possibly floated the RAM. I might have to do a RAM replacement on this. Not a problem if I do have to, and it would be my own fault, but like it wouldn't be any cost to the customer, but not going to be fun. Not going to be fun. They had more current draw when I pressed on that RAM, so that's floated that RAM for sure. It's just looking like a RAM replacement job. Probably going to be stuck on Nintendo logo now, I'd say. Maybe not even stuck on Nintendo logo, but it is displaying a charging symbol. So it is fixable. Well, I mean, it's fixable anyway if it floats around regardless. But this will literally be the first time this has ever happened to me. Nothing's going right tonight. Press on the RAM. But this will literally be the first time this has ever happened to me if it has. I think it has. Alright, let's try reflowing it. If I have to replace the RAM, I have to replace the RAM. But that's the only thing I can think of. And I pressed on that RAM chip and it's doing something different. So I'm going to say it probably is what's happened. One of those days. Yeah. It happens. Fucking junking ground legs. Yeah, stopping it from fucking flowing the port on. Well, if I reflow one, I've got to reflow on both. No, it booted when I changed the P13 chip, mate, so it was definitely working before I changed the port. 100% it was working before I changed the port. But I've just reflowed both of them. Both of them RAM chips. If that don't fix it, I'll replace them. I'm using 440 at 40% airflow, mate. Ah, so there is, yeah. Solder ball squeezage. Yeah. That's going to have to be changed. Yeah, you're right. That's going to have to be replaced. If I'm going to reboard it, I might as well just replace it. I've had the fume extractor on. I only turned it off when I finished the port. Yeah, that's got to be changed. That sucks. That's not going to work when I try and turn it on. That's for sure. Right, I'm going to go grab myself a coffee because looks like he's going to be in for a bit of a longer night than I planned. It's booting. No RAM replacement for you. Wow, I got lucky there, guys. I got so lucky there. Can the switch still work with one RAM chip? No. No, it needs both. It's actually one stick, dual channel. So no, it wouldn't work with just one. So yeah, right, well, I got lucky on this one, guys. I mean, I'm capable of replacing the RAM, but a lot of people, I know it sounds like a little bit like floating my own boat, but most people wouldn't be capable of replacing the RAM because they haven't got the reboarding experience and stuff. That's the issue. So, I mean, a little word of warning there, if you're changing the port, be careful, I guess. Because I got away with one there. And that would have been my fault, not the customer's. So, yeah, just be careful. I mean, it wouldn't have been the end of the world if I had to replace the RAM, like I said, but, I mean, I've got donor boards all over the place. I've got shitloads of RAM for these. Yeah, excess heat, mate, yeah. But the problem is, I mean, with the port, because the port, and I'm not trying to justify anything, it was my fault. I used a bit too much heat. But the problem is, let me show you this under the scope. This is the port I took off. So it took me ages to get the port off, and not because of the heat that was used. What am I doing? I'm going onto the multimeter, and I want to go onto that. So it wasn't the amount of heat I used, it was the length of time it took to take the port off. So the way that this port actually is, I mean, look at the state of the port, how badly oxidized it is. You've got half of the frame is coming apart. So when I'm trying to lift the port off, it's pulling the frame. If that makes sense, it's pulling at the frame and not the actual port. So it takes longer to get the port off, and then it took longer to get the port on because it was shit still stuck inside the pins. So it's a mixture of me not paying enough attention to how much heat I'm putting in and the state that the port was in when I tried to get it off. What's caused me to use too much heat. That is the first time that has ever happened to me. And I've done literally hundreds of these ports. So, no, don't use low melt solder on a Nintendo Switch, mate. Don't use low melt solder on a Nintendo Switch. Not on the port. There's hidden pins at the bottom. There is no way you can physically get low melt solder on them hidden pins at the bottom. So basically what's going to happen is you're going to put low melt solder on there, and then the other two legs wherever they've disappeared to. So you're going to put low melt solder on the ground legs. You're going to put low melt solder on these back pins. So all of this on the outside is going to melt before this row. So then you're going to think that it's ready to come up because everything else is melted and the port's moving freely. When in reality, you're going to rip every single one of these traces. You don't use low melt solder on a Nintendo Switch. It's not a good idea. And I will argue that with anyone. I would argue that with anyone, there's hidden pins that you can't put low melt solder on. If you could access those pins, yeah, but no, you can't access those pins, so you can't put low melt solder on them. So everything else is going to melt before them, and these are the weakest pins on the board. They just are. The size of the traces, they're 0.3 millimeters in diameter, so they are the weakest pins on the board. They've got the shortest traces and the weakest pins because they all go through vias, apart from pin number 4 and pin number 8. Pin number 4 and pin number 9. The rest of them go through vias. They're really weak. Kapton tape is heat reflective, not heat proof, mate. It's not. Kapton tape wouldn't do anything. There's actually a shield on the. Well, I took the shield off to be able to get to the RAM chips. There's actually a shield. You can see a slight burn mark on the shield, right in the bottom corner. But there's actually a shield on there which is supposed to protect the RAM chips, and I've changed literally hundreds upon hundreds of them ports and never had that issue before. Any PS4s? Nah, this is going to be the last one. I'm not going to push. I'm not going to ride my luck tonight. I'm not going to ride my luck, that's for sure. Welcome, Nick. I got your email, mate. I'm going to get to that. It only come a few days ago, actually, but I'm going to get to that in a day or so for you, mate. Right, let's just make sure it still boots. Yeah, so in case you are wondering, I can tell whether it's booting based on what's happening with the bench power supply. Obviously, you guys can't see that, but I can tell what's happening based on the bench power supply. Yeah, that's booting. Or at least I believe it is. Hang on. No. No. I don't think it is. I think that needs the RAM replacing. 0.6 again. 0.06. Not a clue why that booted when I reflowed it. Now the board was cool when I tested it, which is kind of odd. Is that amp meter any good and what connections does it have on top? It's pretty good, mate. Yeah, it only has USB-A and USB-C. But it's got USB-A and USB-C for input and output. So, but basically, if you use USB Type C for input, you've got to use USB Type C for output, and if you use USB Type A for input, then you've got to use USB Type C for use USB Type A for output. That's the only weird thing. It doesn't allow different outputs. Alright, that's the RAM off the dongle board. It don't take that long to change RAM. If I can find my stencil, I'll do it now. If I've got my stencil, I'll do it now. I'll try changing one. If that don't work, I'll change the other. .25. I'll use solder paste on this, mate. I've got a stencil for these, I think. No, it was working before. It was working when I changed P13. It's me that's caused this. It's me that's got to fix it. It doesn't matter what the customer done to it. I saw it working after I'd changed the P13 chip. My fuck up. I've got to fix it. If I can't fix it, I have to replace it. That's the way it works. I've just screwed up a Nintendo Switch, mate. So I'm trying to fix it. Replacing the RAM. I can sit here making excuses all day, but the fact of the matter is, yes, it come in with no power. I fixed that no power. I changed the charger port and killed the RAM. So it's my fuck up. And if I sent this back now, then it's basically sending a what was fixable back as a non-fixable, because there's not many people that can do BGA chip replacements around my area. Not many at all. So if I don't fix it, who will? That's the problem. If I don't fix it, who will? So I either fix it or I replace it. That's the way it's got to be. Too good to lie. I would never do that, mate. I wouldn't sleep at night if I did. I really wouldn't. But that's the thing, though. This is why I always emphasise to people to be like, you treat your customers how you'd expect your mom to be treated, or your gran, or your sister, or whatever. You don't just pretend it's nothing you've done. If you fuck up, we all fuck up. We all mess up from time to time. It's about whether you're able to either rectify the mistakes or whether you're willing to own up to your mistakes and pay for them. What sets you apart from everybody else. And I've been fixing these, I don't even know how long now. A long time. A long time. And I haven't messed up very often. But it does happen. And this is just proof that it can happen to anyone. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter how good you are. Fast and fucking furious. Thank you, Pinball. I appreciate the download, mate. Thanks, mate. I don't deserve it, but thank you. 0.35 will work. Probably a better fit than 0.3 actually. 0.35 mil. That'll do. Yeah, I've got no choice but to hand reball because I haven't got a stencil. It'll take about 25 minutes, I'd say, to hand reball it. Always hand up by hand. Oh dear. Alright, where the flux did I put my flux? Got it. Right, let's get this over with. Welcome, RW. Right, I'm probably not going to talk through this, guys, so sorry. It's quicker if I don't talk. But for anyone who hasn't seen this, I'm basically just manually placing these solder balls because I don't have a stencil to line them up properly for this particular IC. I guess I'm going to have to buy one. I'll probably get bored next week and reball 10 or so. There we go. That's all the balls in line. What temp do I use? What temp and airflow do I use for hand reball? I'll keep it at 440 degrees Celsius, and I'll start off at 2% airflow, and then just once they've all settled into place, I'll start increasing airflow. So I'll go from like 2% to 5%, 10%, 20%, and then after I've done 20%, I'll reflow it again at 40%, but with more flux. Yeah, the price definitely don't change because you screw up. Definitely not. 450 and 1%. Yeah, about the same. Yeah. So I'll start at 2% because I've got to think about odd numbers. I'm not going to lie. But I start off at a high, like a real distance from the actual chip. So like I don't know if anyone knows my working distance, but it's around about I'd say 10 inches from the chip for the microscope, and I'm about about level with the microscope. I'm about 10 inches away from the chip, and that's at 2%. And even at 2%, you've still got a chance of blowing some of the balls away. If I start to see a ball push towards another one, I'll move it completely off the chip, and I'll just place one manually afterwards. But I slowly work my way in. And you'll notice that a few of the balls will get like a puddle around them, where the flux starts to group up into one little bit. But you'll know when it's ready to increase the airflow. You're going to see all of these move into place. And once they've all moved into place, or they've stopped moving, then you can increase your airflow. That's probably safe enough to increase. I'm at 6% now. 10%. So these are all locked in now. So I can actually add some flux now and go straight to 40%. Way to handle the balls. flux shower. I call it a flux flood. So now these should all go nice and shiny. And that should all pull into place. Because they're not perfectly lined up at the minute. That'll do. That's nice. Oh, I've done switch CPUs by hand. That weren't fun. That's good enough for me. If I'm suicidal. Right. I'm going to go grab a fresh coffee while I'm waiting for that to cool down, guys. Yeah, there you go. That's thermal paste and all sorts on my hands now. Okie doke. I can't do this under the scope. I haven't got the angle. Right. Well, there's no going back now. Right. There's a bit of flux. A bit of soldering on the shield. Which I also need to get off. Just got to be careful not to damage any pads. 0.3mm pad trace repair is not going to be fun. So let's just try not to damage any pads. To make sure that's actually the right chip, the one I've just reballed. Yep, seems to be. Get it lined up. And locked in. Right, and I'm going to have to flow this outside the microscope because I'm not going to get the right angle otherwise. Right, so I'll start off at a low airflow of 10%. That's flowed. Now I've literally just got to wait for the console to cool down and then hope it works. Look good to me. Looks nice and level. Thank you, Pinball. I appreciate that, mate. Thank you for the donation. And backlight. It's booting. It's booting. Touchscreen works. Volume works. Does it detect the charger? Does. How about this side? Yep. Wi-Fi works. Right. I don't know if this game card reader works. There you go. It does. Let me make sure it actually plays a game. Make sure we don't get an error when trying to load into a game. Good. Appear to be docking. Right. Yeah, we got a blown filter. Ugh. Right. See, now I've got to carry on because I found another fault. Right, let's just see, make sure we've got no short. Yeah, so filter's definitely bad. Might have actually brought the frigging solder to the actual board instead of being lazy. Let me just grab a filter. That's why it's not docking. Stupid ass thing. What I'll do now, I'll replace this filter, put it back in enough just to see it dock, and then call it a night. It's recognising on the dock, it's just not transmitting video signal. Just plug it into the dock, switches the screen off, which is normal, and then boom, there we go. And it's docking, and this switch is finally done. Yeah, that'll do me. So yeah. Does anyone want to recap on what I've learned tonight? Well, lesson number 1 is be careful how much heat you're using by the USB-C port, because you're going to end up floating the RAM. Lesson number 2 is even if you've done hundreds and hundreds of these ports, it can still happen to you as well. It can still happen to all of us. Oh. But no, it's booting every time. Everything's absolutely fine. It's working as it should, as expected. I will keep an eye on it. I've got this till Thursday. It's for the video's sake. It is Friday, well, Saturday morning now. It's almost 3 AM. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on it over the next few days. If anything untoward happens, then I'll obviously investigate. But it should be okay. And the main thing to learn here is to take responsibility for your mistakes. I think that is probably the main lesson. Just take responsibility for your mistakes. If you do screw up, it happens to all of us. You know, We all mess up. But what sets us apart is obviously being able to own up to them screw ups. And either rectifying them or paying for our mistakes. Right, I'm going to put that back on. And hopefully call this done now. But yeah. Obviously, it initially came in for faulty USB port and a bad P13 USB. So it's had a P13 USB, one filter, USB-C port, and a brand new RAM chip. Obviously, the RAM chip the customer don't get charged for. That is on me. It took me an extra hour and a half ish. But yeah, shit happens. We live, we learn, I guess. But yeah, thank you all for understanding that we all do make mistakes. Obviously, a lot of people could have slagged me off in the chat, but you didn't, so thank you. I appreciate it.